Hey everybody, what is up? Welcome back to Funnel Trade. So here we are back talking about the collector booster box market, and I had alluded to this video earlier this morning in the Brothers War video that I made. There's something really interesting going on with the collector box market. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through the 2025 Magic collector booster boxes, and we're going to go backwards, starting with Avatar here, which is going to be our last or near last. Are we getting a December release? I don't even know at this point. Last or near last release of 2025, and we're going to work our way backwards to Aether Drift. And so something interesting-ish that's going on, something that we'll be keeping an eye on in the coming months and seeing how it develops is the prices of these boxes. And so this is kind of that bifurcation I alluded to. We're at $890 today on the price of these Avatar boxes. Again, these do not release until the week before Thanksgiving. They still have a long time to go. And this kind of drop in the price is really what you expect to see at this point in any product's life cycle. The first few people who list boxes up, it's very speculative, and they're going to list them at high prices, and you're always going to have some buyers who are just wealthy enough that they don't care what the price is. They will put in and they will buy those boxes. They just want to see them on their doorstep a couple days after release, so they don't care about the high prices. Then as more sellers come onto the market, they will undercut each other, and more of the discriminating buyers will come in and eventually find prices that they like. So you expect this kind of downward trend on the prices. So this may be a good data point for the theory we're going to develop over the rest of this video, or this may be just the regular TCG expansion life cycle, letting off the gas on these boxes, because remember, Avatar is just another standard expansion. So we don't quite yet know what this price will be at release. So let's go backwards now to Spider-Man, $680. Now, this has come down a lot in the last couple of days as more and more stores are getting their allocation numbers and seeing exactly how many they will have. And then they race for the exits to sell the boxes at these lucrative prices. And the price has dumped down very hard. You can see just a week ago, the market price was 850, and today the market price is 695. And so it has lost $150 of market price in the last week. Very, very dramatic price movements on this. Now, here's the thing. All of the Spider-Man collector boxes still exist in the world, with the exception of a scant few that are probably open for quality control, stolen out of the factory, etc. Get mailed too early, things like that. So almost all of these boxes still exist in the world today. And so what we're seeing here is not the TCG expansion life cycle in the beginning of a product being listed like we saw with Avatar. Instead, this is, hey, now the dealers are getting allocation numbers and they are ready to post more and more boxes up to commit to selling them, and they are undercutting each other and bringing the price down. Now, how far will this collapse? Well, it's already lower than I thought it would get to. So it's already overshot what I expected the market could do. But yeah, maybe it goes lower, or maybe it consolidates, goes sideways, maybe it jumps back up in a couple of days. We're still a couple of weeks out from release. I mean, we're close to 2 weeks out. Yeah, today's Friday and release is 2 weeks from today. So we have a long time for the market to struggle back and forth between sellers undercutting each other and buyers willing to bid up the price to reserve the product for themselves. But we are still seeing weakness. So we've seen the Avatar box prices have come down about $250 since they were first put on the marketplace. Now we're suddenly seeing this retreat in the Spider-Man box prices. And let's go back another set, Edge of Eternity. So this one was released several weeks ago, and we're down at 375 today off of a peak market price of about 435. So we've come down a decent amount on this one. And the critical thing to understand here is this box has been in people's hands. Tens of thousands and potentially 100,000 or more of these boxes have already been destroyed, and yet the price is coming down. And so this is maybe the better piece of evidence that the collector box market is starting to grow. Now, you'll immediately point out, what about Wild Spell Drain? What about Brothers War? What about Phyrexia? We'll get there, don't worry. But we see that even on this box that has been in buyers' hands for several weeks now, where many, many, many of these boxes, a significant percentage of all the boxes that ever existed for this, have already been destroyed, and yet the price is coming down. This is a good piece of evidence that the market is groaning, that it's having difficulty just sustaining the kind of parabolic moves that it was doing 1 to 2 months ago. Whereas the Spider-Man market action, yeah, it could just not be the market groaning. It could be a whole bunch of dealers undercutting each other. And for Avatar, it was way more likely that this is just the early sellers who are willing to pre-sale boxes that they aren't even 100% sure they're going to eventually be allocated, much less physically receive, put them up here and are undercutting each other. So let's go back one more expansion. Final Fantasy. So this peaked up here about 6 weeks ago at 1450, and today it's down at both a market price and a current ask price of about 1285. So it's come down about $180 in the last 6 weeks. Not a huge drop, but also you don't expect as much of a drop. So if we would like to operate on a theory that the collector box market is groaning to a halt, that it's having a harder and harder time sustaining not only these kind of gains, the size of the gains, but the prices themselves, and the prices are starting to come down, then we would say, well, yes, we expect that Final Fantasy would not come down as much because, again, it is older than this previous one, Edge of Eternities. And so many more Final Fantasy boxes have already been destroyed forever. And so, if the market is actually beginning to groan and have trouble continuing to go upwards, we would expect, if there's even a pullback, that it wouldn't be as large on this slightly older product. Let's once again go back another box. Tarkir Dragonstorm, 360. And what do we see here? Sideways action for the last 3 months. 3 months ago, it was at 325. Today, it's at a market price of 336. Well, 336 here, and on this read, 343, but merely a $20 difference. So about 6% difference in price over that 3 month period. I mean, if you want that kind of boring type of action, you go to the stock market. So 6% difference. And again, the reason we would expect this to be sideways, even if the market is having trouble, is it is yet older than Final Fantasy. Yet more of these boxes have been permanently destroyed. And so it could go sideways in a down market because the amount of boxes in the world is even lower. Let's go one more. Whoa, wrong direction. Innistrad Remastered 292. And what do we see here over the last 3 months? Well, it started at 250 and now it's at 292. So it's gone up 20%. When things go up in a down market, well, yes, if they are old enough that the existing supply in the world has been so depleted that the supply side of the book is way, way, way weaker than the weakening demand side of the book. So even if the number of buyers may be decreasing, even if the amount of money they're willing to spend might be going down right now, if that's actually what we're seeing, then yes, prices can still go up if the supply is even weaker than the demand. And this is what some people have some trouble understanding about these markets, and why it's so critical that I always repeat that these are scarce collectibles that people destroy for fun, and why that is such a value driver in these markets for the long term. Let's go back one more. So, away again. Aether Drift, collector boxes, 210 with the shipping charge here. And what do you see? Upwards, just upwards over the last 3 months. This hilarious blip, and then it comes back, reverts to the mean, and keeps going back upwards. And yeah, this is completely reasonable, even in a down market, because this was a January release. It has served its time in the wilderness, the same as Innistrad Remastered. It has gone through the low point, through the darkness. It has been open sufficiently that even if it is an unpopular product, it can gain in price because it is scarce enough. And so that's why I'm trying to assemble this narrative, this theory that potentially what we're seeing is a lot of weakness in the collector box market because these ones that are coming soon are falling in price. The ones that are coming sooner are falling more in price. The recent ones have fallen a bit, and as we go backwards, they have fallen less and less until we see them approximately at level performance, and then we see the older ones at upwards performance because we expect that many fewer of these boxes still exist in the world than the later products that are more recent and have been in people's hands to be ripped open for a shorter amount of time. And I will point out, as I said earlier, even if the market is groaning, prices can go up. Because when you get out to these kind of things, Wilds of Eldraine, this is a 2023 box, a very exquisite box that people love, but just not enough of them left in the world. And that's how, on a 3 month plot, you can go from 585 market price up to 850 market price today. But then the lowest ask is $1,100. That's how that can happen. There just aren't enough of these in the world. There are only 35 listed on the market right now and 37 sold in the last month. And so we might be seeing the initial stages, the initial signs of the Magic Collector box market groaning to a halt. We might be. It's hard to say yet. Brothers War, same thing, and I pointed this out in my video earlier today that yeah, it's only 440 right now, but there's very, very, very little sell side pressure. There's very little resistance before it gets up to $1,000 and Phyrexia $665 ish. And you look at that 3 month plot. 3 months ago, 445 market price. Today, 537, and the lowest ask 665. That means that that price is way outrunning the ability of the trailing average market price to calculate and keep up with it. That is a very, very bullish signal. And so maybe we are seeing the beginnings of the collector box market rollover of prices overall getting too high, but that doesn't mean that the older boxes whose remaining inventories in the world are so much more scant cannot keep going up. And I would expect it. Like I said in the Brothers War video this morning, it's very plausible that Brothers War will be $1,000 box by the end of the year. And you say, that's crazy, Craig. It's only $440 today. And yet the sell side pressure just might not be there. There aren't a lot of boxes compared to the current sell through rate to get us to keep us away from 1,000 by the end of the year. So there's a good chance it hits that. So hopefully, if this is the market rolling over, as I always tell everyone, Final Trade was born in the bear market of 2021 and 22 and did not know a bull market until it was already a man. And by then, it was so distasteful. Just kidding. I love making the money. But let me know what you think, guys. It's going to be interesting to see what happens through the rest of this year, how it all shakes out, and whether this is the market rolling over or whether we get that half point rate cut in a couple of weeks and it just pours gasoline everywhere and these markets fly back upwards. Either way, I am so damn excited for it. So let me know what you think, guys. Thanks to everyone who makes this content possible, especially my very generous supporters on Patreon. Like, comment, share, and subscribe, and join me on Final Trade.